bottom. We aren't seeing these colors yet, thank heavens, but it'll be coming soon. And with me, I also have Jim. Jim, do you want to take a second and introduce yourself, since you'll be co-hosting a number of these sessions too?
Sure. Okay. Hi, everyone. Jim Wright. I'm a outbound product manager here in ServiceNow in the IT Service Management BU. Been with ServiceNow for just about a year, 25 years in ITSM, 8 years working on the ServiceNow platform. My role is primarily around improving adoption of Service Operations Workspace through prescriptive guidance and working with customers and partners. I enjoy motorsport and regularly get taken out in the rain with my dogs as well. And that's pretty much me.
Perfect. Thanks, Jim. And as well, we have Keka with us today. Keka, do you want to give us a brief intro?
Sure. Yes. Thanks, Janet. So good morning, everybody. My name is Keka Ichinose. I am a principal product manager here at ServiceNow. My focus is on the incident management product inside of Service Operations Workspace. I also focus on interaction management as well, too. I've been at ServiceNow for almost 4 years now, and a little bit of my experience, I kind of come from more of the DevOps background. So when I started here at ServiceNow, I was actually helping build out one of our DevOps products inside of that suite. But yeah, I've had my practice being inside of DevOps in my past life as well too. So you may hear a little sprinkling of life experiences that happen to come out from those things, but deeply obviously tied into the incident management processes, because I had to carry a pager and I had to do all that stuff. So pain and suffering is my name. So I've been through all that stuff. So definitely know what's going on there. Look forward to talking to you about what's going on today with our service desk agent, the persona, and hopefully how applicable it is for you all.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so what to expect from Launch and Learn? What we're looking at is just to give you a brief overview in each session of a particular area and have some Q&A with you. It's about getting your feedback, understanding where you are in the journey, what works for you, what you were aware of, what you weren't, things like that. What we're going to ask you to do is be vocal. Ask what you may consider to be the dumb question. Ask the tough questions, whatever you want. Tell us you love it. Tell us you hate it. We need to use this feedback to build the best product possible for you. And as well, we'll be sending out surveys, both polls during the sessions and surveys at the end to kind of gauge how helpful this information was to you. So thank you for the input. Why are we doing this? A couple of things. We need questions answered. So what's going to help you adopt SOW faster, easier? What documentation is needed that either is out there or you can't find it or isn't out there yet? Are we thinking about the challenges and problems that you're facing day in and day out the right way? Are we approaching the right solutions? Are we missing solutions, right? And what you stand to gain from this, hopefully, is the direct contact with us as product managers. You've got your engineers, you've got designers, you've got researchers. We have the entire product management team supporting you. We have product success folks on the line as well. We also have some of our specialist SCs. So there is an entire village behind the scenes that you may not see or be directly introduced to on each call. But we're all here to answer your questions, okay? You will get some tutorials on aspects and have some live demos and walkthroughs. So hopefully this will be a win-win for everyone. These are the 6 sessions that we will be doing this quarter. Well, yeah, I guess technically this quarter, early next quarter. And what we're talking about is today, it's the Service Operations Persona for Service Desk Agent, which is just a review, as well as what other personas we're going to cover. The next session will be focused on major incident management in Service Operations Workspace, which was introduced in Washington. Then we're going to have a session on problem management in SOW, where that is today, as well as where it's going to. So a little bit more forward-looking in the problem management discussions. And we'll have Matt Lloyd in, who is the product manager there, to talk about that. And then we'll have a couple of sessions on change management. This first one about configuring modern change in service operations, how to configure it, what are the new things to do, what needs to be set up, and then how to adopt change models change policies, change approval, etc., all within SOW as well. And last but not least, we're going to have an admin persona review, which is going to talk about some of the configurations, whether it's through Admin Center or through the UI Builder. And then we will wrap up and we will send out to everyone after each session, the presentation itself, as well as any of the FAQs, the questions and answers from all of you. And we will share, recordings of all of these sessions. I would like to do it week by week. I can't guarantee I can do that. It depends how quickly we can turn around the recording cleanup and so on. So worst case scenario, at the end of the 6 sessions, we will post all 6 to community and make them available to folks as well. So if someone misses a session, you will be able to access them in the future. Okay. And with that, safe harbor slide, we will start with every single one of our sessions as we are talking about current, but we will probably also be giving you insights to where we are going, what is just about to release or may release in the new year. So keep in mind, these are forward-looking statements. Don't make purchasing decisions until it's been released to GA or general availability. So what is Service Operations Workspace? If you do not know already, it is just a configurable workspace that provides a unified place for IT service management work and operations management work to be done together, i.e., one place to do work on incidents, problems, changes, bring those things together, do your collaborations. Everybody sees a similar look and feel and so on, unless you customize. So from the SOW side of things, this is a landing page overview, just gives you an idea from an end user. When they go in, they're going to have a home banner and they're going to see, hello, this is who you are, blah, blah, blah. They're going to have an overview to give them their donuts, which are their various dashboard widgets and so on that say what's important to them. They're going to have a list view that shows relevant information about the particular donut that's in focus at the. You're also going to see your announcements and things on the side, upcoming to remind you of things that are due today or tomorrow, and quick links. So this is just an example of a tier 1 landing page. This can be changed for various views, and we'll get into that in future sessions. Okay, then there's a record page, which is once you get away from the landing page, you drill into your first incident or interaction. This is where you're going to see, and you'll be able to see your overview page, details, your related records, and of course, toggle between information. So there's a few things you're going to hear about. This is what we call the sidebar. So all of these icons on the side are what's called a sidebar, and they'll talk to things between the toggling between recommended actions, record information, going to on-call experts, things like that. So we'll go through this as we go into each demo. And then you will have, of course, as well. So even though you're in the SOW workspace, you still have a very traditional look and feel if you want, if you just go to list view and you can work with your records there. So before I'm just go ahead and start this poll, but to also kind of let you know, where did this get started? Why did we do it? And so on. Is Service Operations Workspace is to bring you into the next experience, right? It's to move into that new UI so that we can make use of all of the new features and functionalities. It's all about making sure that we have the accessibility controls enabled and so on. There's a lot of different features and functions that have been added within SOW that simply aren't available within UI 16. And we're just getting into the development of those things now. Now, bear with me. I'm having a hard time on my poll. There we go. Launch. So if you can just briefly let us know, are you just getting started in SOW? Are you launching? Not planned yet? or other, and you can go ahead and put that in the comment. And SOW has been around for about 3 years now, close to 3 years. And it has changed significantly from where we started, and it will continue to change based on feedback from you, our users. In fact, we just ended an 1.5-hour call with our PAC or Product Advisory Council about what works, what doesn't work, what do you want to see different, how do we do things. So we are interested in your feedback. The more you give to us, the more we can make this product work the best for you. And we've got about 80% of participants, so I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and share the results. And please forgive me, I'm sorry, I have a cold. We are just getting started. So about 55% of you on the call right now are getting started in the journey, which is perfect. We want to help you learn as you go. 27% are launching and in the way, underway rather. And not planned yet, 12%. Okay, that's fair. Perfect. Thank you very much. And with that, whoops, sorry, I'm going to pass it over to Keka for a few minutes to walk you through, from a service desk agent perspective, what does SOW look like in a day-to-day?
All right. Thank you, Janet. Okay, so, and thank you for doing the safe harbor, because that was going to be probably the first thing I showed if you didn't. So, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and just kind of, I'll be kind of jumping around between different formats, FYI. So, just for y'all's edification, let me go ahead. So, before we get going here, kind of a quick overview here of what we're talking about when we're talking about the service desk agent persona, right? So this persona is kind of who a lot in our customer companies would label as your tier 1 or level 1 agents, right? These are folks that are handling mostly technical issues that impact their like kind of internal day-to-day customers, who would be mostly more than likely employees of a given company, right? So when you talk about anything around password resets or having problems with their hardware, access issues, email issues, you name it, right? Those types of issues that I think all of us here are pretty familiar with, have gone through the the pain and suffering there, right? And handling those requests through different channels, whether it's through email or chats or even on phone calls, right? So the concerns from this persona, from what we've heard, is around needing all the relevant detail up front, like right away, because I need to be able to quickly discern, okay, what's going on with my customer, what's their problem, how quickly can I get it resolved, and it's about efficiency over performance. That's kind of the biggest thing, is like, how quickly can I get this done? Because the sooner I can help them and resolve them, I can move on and help other customers as well too. So it's kind of the bread and butter, if you will. One quote that we got from customers, because you'll see different experiences as we kind of go through when I kind of demo what you'll see. Some of it might be more click friendly, but others involve a little bit more scroll. And especially when you think about like kind of our more classic experience we've had right inside of what we call our UI16 experience, there's a lot of scroll in there. And a lot of our customers have said that they actually like that. I'd rather scroll than click. Like somehow there's a little bit more of this stressor that's there when I have to click and see other information, as opposed to if you just gave it to me all in one go. And I'd rather just scroll the screen to be able to go and find what I need. Because more often than not, from a formatting perspective, their thought is, I kind of know generally where, in an incident form as an example, where all the information already is. So I know exactly where to go hunt for it. So that's just kind of some meta there. But at any rate, this is the persona that is here, and this is what they're trying to accomplish. So now if I go into an instance here and take a look at what a service desk agent, a day in the life, looks like for them. So when they come into Service Operations Workspace here, they'll see this landing page that we have. And in this particular case, this person's just our ITIL user role that we have here. And we kind of see very quickly, hey, what are some incidents that are assigned to me that I might want to take a look at? And I can basically click on this donut here, take a look at, okay, what are incidents that are currently assigned to me? If there are any that are in an incident breaching situation from an SLA perspective, I can go and click on that and go and whittle down to that too, and go and prioritize and see what's going on there. One of the improvements we're making here, it's a very tiny thing, but I know how valuable it is for folks here. Is right from our default list here that we have. One of the first questions that we've gotten from customers is, "Hey, so this is really great to see. Like, for instance, the incidents that are assigned to me, I may want to pick up the one that was like updated the most recently." So we're actually adding that column here by default, because you can actually go and edit the columns yourself here. But from just a quick to get started perspective, we're adding that by default here, coming up in one of our forthcoming releases in November. So that's something we'll be doing there, so that way you can kind of sort through your lists and do that as well too. So I may be going through these different list of the dashboard widgets and figuring out, okay, what is my set of instances I should be taking a look at and helping resolve like right away. Or if my queue is clear, because just imagine if you're just super efficient and high speed, maybe everything that's assigned to you is already resolved. You can also quickly take a look at your team's work to see the same view, but from your team's perspective, to see where should you be helping out there, if that's a part of your process. Other elements that are important here to look at when we take a look at the landing page, on the announcements section here on the right side, you'll see a bunch of these incidents that are there. These incidents are in particular, these are major incidents. So ones that are have high visibility, P1s, P2s, they've been promoted through our major incident process. And we just introduced back in May our major incident management product into the Service Operations Workspace. So maybe some of you are all familiar with the major incident workbench that was there inside of Classic. We have now brought this in natively into Service Operations Workspace. So it's definitely there today. My teammate Harsh Maliwal will be talking to you about that in your next Launch and Learn session. So I will not be getting into that today, but at any rate, that section is there for announcements. Anything upcoming would be things like, hey, any tasks that I've got to get taken care of. There might be a certain set number of incidents that are going to be breaching SLA that I need to go deal with. So you'll have those pieces of information there too. Quick links are just like, links that you've identified along the way through you're doing your research, and like that service desk agents, for instance, have seen, and like they want to go back and always kind of favorite or whatnot, they can have that there. The section for getting started, this was actually initially our kind of take of saying, hey, welcome to the Service Operations Workspace. You're new here. Let's go through a list of some of our key features here that you'll find helpful and will help you get through your day-to-day work. However, we've now introduced the idea of guided tours, as well as kind of a what's new functionality that's there. So that we will slowly be kind of moving in that direction, because that will kind of give you knowledge right up to the time of release of what has come out, as well as where you can also get help on a day-to-day basis. And where you would find those guided tours is if you look in the upper right corner here under Show Help, you will see guided tours here, and you'll be able to kind of dive into those and see how to leverage those here as well too. You can take a tour. All right. Other things. So other ways that we've seen service desk agents work is, again, especially when you're coming in and you are coming from being an existing customer, right? One of the things that a lot of our agents are very familiar with is the list of the incidents that they have, and being able to just dive through those and before going right into an incident. So if you look on the left side here, you'll see this lists module, and that will kind of give a little bit more of that familiarity. Now, what we've done here, though, is kind of helped out the service desk agent by saying, here's the lists in your persona or your role, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis that would be important to you, right? So not just saying, here's just a whole bunch of lists to go take a look at, but like, there might be a list of interactions you're working through here that you're talking through different customers and you want to go do that. There is your list of incidents here, specifically maybe the ones that are assigned to you are the ones that you care about. Maybe the ones that are a list of open incidents, or you are going back and researching something from previous set of incidents. So you want to go take a look at some of the incidents that were resolved, and so that's something that you could do. So that's different ways of working here. So with that said, from here, what we would then do is if we jump into the actual work of going into a particular incident, then what we would do here is take a look at our view. So what we kind of did here was we kind of wanted to have a take here of being able to kind of guide the service desk agent through the experience of working an incident, right? And so you have inside this overview section, a couple sections here that we have where we've got the summary. And this would be like collecting your key bits of data around, hey, what is the priority and the impact of this incident? Short description, most of those seminal things there. Also, what is the impact? Like what CI is this targeting? Is this targeting a specific service or service offering? And as you add information into there, it would expand out and be able to give you that larger view of like other assets and things like that would be affected CIs, if you will. Then once you've kind of gone through that, that's when you're going through working the incident and identifying what is the cause of the incident, right? Like, have you identified what the root cause is, and are the relevant teams engaged to go in to sort those things out? Now, for most service desk agents, again, doing things like password resets, helping out with hardware issues, things like that, they're going to be probably triaging a lot of that on their own. But this is also still a very important place where, not just from a single service desk agent's perspective, but if they have to do a handoff to another team or an escalation up to tier 2 or something, having these fields available very quickly and giving this information in a kind of a more bite-sized kind of format, if you will, is very important. So adding the cause from that in that kind of format is very important. And of course, lastly, going through the resolution, right? So it's just kind of providing a kind of guided experience to go and resolve an incident. Now, what you'll also see here, it's technically in the center here, what you'll see our activity stream section that from a classic work experience would normally be at the bottom of your record. So if you looked at an incident record in classic, toward the bottom, you would see your activity stream and your compose. So we moved that here kind of in the middle here. That way it's like right here and up front, so that any updates that happen, you would be able to see right away in your activity stream. But you'd also be able to toggle that on and off, right? If it becomes a little bit too noisy, you'll see these little buttons here in the bottom. You could always toggle it off by just having the record view only, or if you just want to see activity stream, you could just focus in on that. So we kind of provide ways to be able to see your record in different ways. Also, Janet referenced the sidebars, right? And the sidebars are where you're going to see a lot of your key bits of information here, right? So when I take a look at the record here, I can see, for instance, hey, what are any SLAs that are in the, have the counters going down right now? Are there any that have breached? Do I need to deal with that right now? Any information regarding the caller specifically, things around the caller I might be interested in. Again, if this is going to be something having to do with, say, a hardware issue or something on their side, I can go quickly take a look at their assigned assets and be able to say, okay, hey, I don't need to ask them now for like their asset tag number or anything else. I can have that information now if I needed that, right, to be able to help troubleshoot it. Or if I need to open up the record information to see their CI and dive deeper into it, I am able to do that now directly from that sidebar. So that's one set of information that's there from the caller perspective. Other things that you would be able to find out from the caller's perspective is this something that they've called about before or they've chatted about before? Like maybe they had an issue, it seemed like it was resolved maybe several hours ago, but it came back. So I want to go back and I want to take a look at, hey, were there any past interactions that occurred with other service desk agents that I might need to take a look into? Maybe this is something more systemic that's going on, or even recent incidents that have occurred that this caller has been tied into. So, and then lastly, you got who's assigned to, in this case, this particular instance assigned to Beth Anglin. Any additional collaborators that would pop up, you would be able to see them as well too. Additional collaborators are folks that have added notes into the work, into the activity stream here, are owners of any incident tasks. If this was an incident that was big enough that warranted incident tasks to be created, you would also have them as collaborators as well too. In our example here, we don't really have that. So yeah, I'm going to take a break here. Janet, do I need to give a break for any questions or anything like that? Or is that being addressed in chat or?
No, that'll be in chat primarily, but that's fine. If we want to open up and see if anybody does have a question, I'm absolutely good for that.
Yeah, why don't I just go ahead and do that for a second, just also because it'll give folks a chance to process what you're seeing. I know I kind of spat out a lot of information in one go, so I want to maybe take a breath here and see hey, does this all make sense so far? Is it all kind of, is it all making sense? Let me just see if there's any questions here.
Yeah, and just to clarify, the turning on and off of the columns and things that you're showing on the bottom now, that is available in current instance or future?
These options here for the split view and all that stuff, that's available right now. Yeah, that's there right now. So you're able to kind of change your view and get what works for you there.
Yeah, because a lot of end users may not be aware of that yet, and quite honestly, it's something I constantly forget of myself. Can you talk?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it's so small. It's right down here. It's even at times I'll get hung up on it as well too.
There is
Oh,
one-
and by the way, you can also resize it as well too. If that wasn't apparent there, you can resize that as well as resize the sidebar as well here too.
There is one question here. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to ask, Deborah, but can you talk about cause? So are you talking about finding root cause? Is that what you're asking what that's for?
It's just a new attribute I haven't seen before, especially in the incident screen. Root cause RCA would be something more in problem.
Right. And I think that is just for what has been investigated or already known, especially when things come in from event. You will be able to see something potentially come in from cause there and so on. So it's just slowly but surely closing that gap between incident and problem so that when an incident can be resolved because we actually know the cause, let's capture it. Right?
Yeah. Correct. That's right, Janet. Yeah. So this is the probable cause field that we have here. So it's not directly tied into problems, so to speak. And you would have associations that you would do there, Deborah, from that aspect where you could tie into a problem record. And actually, that brings a really good point. So for folks that are using SOW for the first time, but they're used to coming from that classic view, you would be able to kind of take a look at this details tab that you would see here. And this should be close to what you were used to seeing from the form perspective. And so you basically, this is again, like kind of the overall, like, hey, I'm trying to get used to the whole experience in SOW, but I'm used to seeing this view inside of my classic world. And so inside of classic, you would have, your sections around related records where if you do have, like, for instance, if you're tied up to a parent incident, you would be able to log that here. If there was a change request that had caused this incident, you'd be able to fill that information here. The change request that's used to fix this incident could be also tracked here, as well as the problem record. And also below that, you would have your probable cause, which is, again, is an incident field. It could be leveraged in the future by problem as well too. We do have discussions underway around how we link those things together now that we've brought in problem management into Service Operations Workspace, which happened with this August release, store release that's happened. So we are having discussions around that as well too, because we understand how tightly the coupling there can be between incident and problem. And so that's something that we're working to do as well too.
And I think you'll get to this probably next, but one of the other questions is, where is the link to knowledge?
Yes. So in terms of knowledge, so to showcase this, I'm going to jump into a different instance here. So I do have an instance here where I've got an incident record that's up here. And where you kind of leverage knowledge here inside of Service Operations Workspace, there was two places. So the first place that we've had till now was what was called Agent Assist. And so if you went into this Agent Assist section, you would basically go and you could, type in, your information here. We should normally default to whatever's in the short description to give you any articles that you might see here. Also, though, forthcoming as of this August store release is under the recommendations section here. There was an overhaul that was done with our recommended actions framework, and we actually have added in our AI search capability within there. And so the AI search is it's faster, it's more performant. It's just going to give a little bit more applicability and efficiencies in finding what you need to from a search perspective. So in the long run, it will probably, the search capability here under recommended actions will probably replace Agent Assist. And so that's why I want to kind of highlight that here now. So in this case, you would find your knowledge articles right here, right? So in this case, the short description was need to add more memory to laptop, right? And if I were to come here, actually, let me reload the screen first, that way you can see it kind of fresh here. So if I come in here, all right, great. So now I go to recommendations. I would have a list of recommended actions if that was something that you were leveraging, like for instance, from our task intelligence plugin that we have. Then you would get that here. Like I have a knowledge article right here that I could review and take a look at here if it was applicable here. Now, if it wasn't, I need to go do a search. Again, we would preload that the short description into the search field here, and then you'd have a whole bunch of information here tied into whatever was the search query, right? And it goes across knowledge, catalog requests or items, incidents, change requests. So if I want to filter down to knowledge, I could do that here. Just filter it down to knowledge, and I can go down and take a look at what's happening here. From here, I would be able to do a couple things. I'd be able to review and attach the article in line. So I could review the article here. Now, I did mention earlier, all right, that some, agents would prefer scrolling versus clicking, but if you were to read this entire article, it's a little bit of a, it's a little rough to do that in this format. So you could do a couple different things. As I kind of mentioned it earlier, you could kind of whittle down your view here, kind of give yourself more space here inside the workspace to read this article before doing an attachment. Or the other option you have here is on this overflow here, you could go read article in full view. That would open up in another workspace tab, and you would be able to see the full article information here. Likewise, if you want to attach the article here, you could also attach it to this. You could attach it here and add some additional comments, and that would attach this article into this incident. I'm actually trying to do that live here, but I have not played around with this particular instance too much, so I may not be able to do that. It doesn't seem to be doing it. So, oh no, there. Okay, cool. There, it went ahead and attached it. Sweet. So yeah, in this case, it attached it in, and there's a work note that's been placed there. So, or a comment in that case. So that's kind of where that is at. So hopefully I answered your question, Allison.
Yes, thank you. Great.
Awesome. And that's great that we went into that because that was going to be where I was going to go next. Last thing I will cover here and then hand it back to you, Janet. Hopefully I'm good on time. So the last thing kind of a service desk agent may possibly do is if there's a situation where they need to get another team involved, right? And then okay, well, who do I reach out to on that team, right? Who's the on-call? They have a section here on the sidebar for experts on call where they can see, okay, I can see that David Liu is the primary online for the hardware group, which is perfect because the issue that I got to triage right now is a laptop issue. So I'm going to go contact David. Or if he wasn't around, then Beth would be the next person. So kind of everything that you need from a service desk agent perspective to help resolve your customers' issues right here at your fingertips. And again, whether you are a classic user used to this form view that we have here, or you want to take a look at the newer experience, it's a little bit more guided and moves through the flow. That's kind of what we're trying to help out with here with Service Operations Workspace. So that's kind of the high level, what's available, the day in the life from a service desk agent. So hopefully that's helpful for you all.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Keka. I am going to take us now into another poll to continue. And then one thing I wanted to bring up is that one of the new features as well that we have is password reset is now going to be available in SOW, and it wasn't previously. So that's something that we'll make sure that we get a chance to show you at some point during this series as well. So there is a poll out there right now to kind of find out from you, what are your biggest challenges in adopting SOW? Multiple choice, you can choose as many as you want, but we're really trying to understand, is it primarily technical? Is it organizational change? Is it just how complex it is to do it, or feature awareness? And this is just to give us a better idea of how is it we can help you best? What is it you need to know that we need to share with you? I'm just going to give it a moment till we get to about 75%, and then I will share. Come on, you can do it. 62. All right. I will settle for 70%. That works. And just to share results here, we are seeing organizational change management is one of the challenges, and of course, resources to do it. So that being said, the simpler we can make switching for you, the easier we can help to explain how you can switch over and so on, I think is probably the best thing to help. Okay, and with that, I am going to pass off to Jim, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the Agent Workspace to Service Operations migration utility. So one thing I forgot to add as a poll is to ask, who here is already using Agent Workspace? So do we have any users on the call today? Maybe just put your hand up or something and let us know if you're using Agent Workspace. Okay, we've got a few hands going up. Okay, cool. So then this will be relevant to you for sure, and potentially others in the future. So that's awesome. If you don't mind, Jim.
Yeah, thank you, Janet. I know at least one person that's on the call that was on one of our calls earlier, and I've spoken to previously. So yeah, we do have people here with that. Okay, so what is the migration utility? So this is a utility. It's been developed to allow you to migrate customer-specific configuration customizations that you put into Agent Workspace and actually automatically apply them onto the new Service Operations Workspace. We've talked about it previously as a pilot, which we worked through with a number of customers. It's now available through the ServiceNow store, certified, and it's available for people on Vancouver patch 6 or above, and they also need to have a SOW at 4.2 or above as well. The reason for this utility, Agent Workspace is now deprecated. It is now out of support, and that was as of the Washington instance release. Next slide, please. So as Janet said, you'll get a copy of these slides when we've finished. However, just to give you a sort of an idea of what will be migrated and what won't be migrated, we'll be looking to migrate configurations around incident management, change management, interaction, problem, knowledge, request, tasks, anything you've done on configuration items, anything you've done on lists. What won't be carried over is landing pages permissions, workspace roles and permissions, user permissions, any branding that you've done across Agent Workspace, anything around the lookup and verify setup, workspace module. It's keen to understand, this was something that came back from one of our customers. We won't bring anything across that relates to other workspaces. So for example, the customer service management configurable workspace, which I know a lot of our customers have been using already, and also any modification to the task records at this point. So incident task, problem task, also SC task and the SC request item. They are due to be included, but they are not currently in the current release that's available. So we should have a further release coming out at in November, which hopefully will cover those off as well. Next slide, please.
My mouse doesn't want to move, Jim. Here we go.
Press a button. Okay, so what will we migrate? So within those tables, what will we actually bring forward for you? So any menus that you've added, any list categories or modules, search items, your list, so the personal lists that you've added, anything you change around list layouts, list actions, list attributes, anything that you've highlighted in those lists, and also form layout. So that can include field decorators, UI actions, layouts, render components, anything from Agent Assist will come across, but it also related items, related lists. So there's quite a lot that will be brought through, any view rules as well. The main thing that will kind of come out of this will be it's very much a sort of do and one time only activity, but hopefully we've covered off the most common configurations that have happened. Next slide, please, Janet.
Now
I think then, yeah, the next one's going to be more detail about what doesn't need migration. So basically, configurations that are sort of server side or workspace agnostic will not need to be migrated. So things like any configuration around agent chat should be there. Workspace notifications will already work. Any sort of email client or tag work that you've done or templates, they'll still be there. So Anything that will be, as I said, workspace agnostic won't need to be migrated. So next slide, please.
Sorry, I went too fast.
That's okay. Okay, so the migration utility. So what you'll do is you'll go to the ServiceNow store. You will get the application to install. It is recommended, if not mandated at this point, that you do this on a sub-production instance. There's a number of reasons for that. The main reason is the last point there. You cannot go back. So this is a once and done deal. If you migrate, and say, for example, you were going to migrate your production instance, you could not go back if something went wrong. So our recommendation is you do this in sub-production, you capture all of the changes that are going to be made within an update set, and you use your usual regression testing and governance to validate that it's worked as expected, and you will then be able to promote those update sets through your standard promotion processes. So very much a sub-production activity. You would carry out the migration, you would then carry out regression testing, and ensure that that everything works as it did previously in Agent Workspace in the new migrated Service Operations Workspace. And that's it from my slides. I don't know whether there's any questions come up or anything that I can answer live at this point.
I don't think I've seen any, but yes, this is available on the ServiceNow store now. So if you're using Agent Workspace and looking to get off of it because it's decremented, then we do want to suggest that you take a look at the workspace migration utility, that you download that and take a look. Okay. Perfect. And then moving on, the last topic really for today is just an introduction to additional personas, and why do we reference personas in general? The concept of personas is really about having a user that has specific goals and responsibilities to achieve the outcomes for the business, right? We use fictional characters to bring to life those roles and permissions required to achieve our outcomes. So as our customers all vary in size and process maturity and everything, we can't just say, the ITIL role or this role or that role. It's really about personas, and it's about people with different jobs to be done. So for Service Operations Workspace, our initial persona that we talk about tends to be Lakshmi Analyst. You'll hear her name in a lot of places, but really it's a tier 1 service desk agent, right? Whether it's named Lakshmi or Joe Schmo, doesn't matter. But the persona is all about the service desk agent who manages interactions, creates, works on incidents, and so on. Now, that was where we originally started with Service Operations Workspace. However, the workspace benefits that come forward as we move forward is everybody can make use of Workspace, or should be able to make use of the benefits and things of Workspace. One of the biggest things that Service Desk used to have an issue with is the fact that you could only open one ticket at a time and work on it, because when you were opening a second one and you had one person working in 2 tickets, the information was not getting synced. There were problems, right? It wasn't multi-session friendly. Now, that's the whole point of Service Operations Workspace. You can have multiple tabs open. You can switch between different users that you're supporting, different processes that you're supporting, etc. And as a result, now those personas have grown much larger. So beyond typical tier 1 user, we're looking at people who manage different applications. They manage processes such as change or major incident stakeholder communications, collaborations, etc. So they're the tier 2 and tier 3 personas. And that's what our future sessions and really this whole series is based around, is bringing forward to you as a technical analyst, a fulfiller, a resolver. What can I use within SOW? What different pieces of the puzzle are there? Is it just incident, or is it incident and this? As an incident manager, what can I do? As a major incident manager, and the person responsible for stakeholder communications, how do I manage? Problem analysts, problem managers or process owners, how do I get to root cause analysis and so on? All of these things now are being brought in to show you what Service Operations Workspace can do for all of these things. Because all of our processes in ITSM kind of join. You open an interaction, it's going to spawn a request or an incident. You have an incident, you need to fix it. Well, you open a change request. You have a change request. Later on, maybe that change causes a different incident, and multiples of them. So then you get a problem record, etc. So we are just bringing it holistically all together so that all of those different personas and different roles at a level tier 2 and above can also take advantage of things like the collaboration, things like the sidebars, things like multiple tabs, all of the benefits that we have within Service Operations Workspace. So with that, that's just a teaser for what we're going to talk about in our future sessions. I know it's a quick dump, and at an hour, it will be every week. We'll have a segment, which is about 20 minutes, usually 20, 25 minutes, and then we'll do Q&A. Okay. We only have a few minutes left today, but absolutely, you still have questions. Feel free to come off mute, or better yet, put it in Q&A, because we'll get those answers out to everyone after the fact. So any questions about Service Desk Analyst usage of Service Operations Workspace right now, or the other personas that we're going to cover, including the administrator and how they can set up? Okay, one of the questions I see in there that's not answered yet, but we can a universal request created within SOW when an incident's been created incorrectly? Okay, I'm not sure I understand the scenario, but yes, we can absolutely create a universal request and then create an incident from that universal request. That can be done within SOW for sure.
Okay. The reason for the question is that we're currently looking to deploy or launch universal requests within our organization, and we're looking to create the universal request completely in the back end, if you like, non-visible to the customer, when obviously an incident has been created, but it's followed the wrong process. In other words, it needed to be a HR case in this instance. So we have clear transparency, so it's whether that operation can be managed within SOW itself.
Yes, absolutely. You can still create a universal request, and it only is going to be visible. The catch is universal requests, if you are opening it on behalf of the person who it originally should have been opened for, right?
Yep.
Then they will see the universal request in their queue in the future. If you open it in the name of the service desk agent or whoever's doing it, then the end user won't. So it's just, they won't have the work, but they'll have visibility to it if you open it on behalf of someone.
Okay, and that can be all done through the SOW dashboard or what have you, or through that process.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
And that's very recent. That's since Washington, I believe.
Super.
Pardon me. Anyone else with any questions? Because if not, we will let you go a couple of minutes early. And as I said, every single event, unfortunately, we need you to specifically register for each event. But once you have registered, you'll have access to the information. I will email out the information once we clean up and consolidate FAQs and so on. Those will go out along with presentations, and we will get recordings posted. If we don't get them posted within the following week, Worst case scenario, we will post them all at the end of the 6-week series up onto community, and you'll have access to them there. But I'm going to see if I can do that a little more proactively this time. Oh, and one last poll I will quickly run to let us know, what do you think you might implement in SOW as far as personas going forward, knowing the little bit that you know now that it is possible for all of these roles to work within SOW? And I'll probably ask this question again as we go further down the line and give you more information on each of these. Okay. And otherwise, I thank you very, very much for your attention and for joining us. And just to give you some insights, there's where folks are on SOW roles. We've got a lot. It's primarily still going to be service desk, but yes, there's a lot with incident and problem and change as well. So I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.